so much more information came forward on this. That's why we got to talk about it. Now, Blake Lively is trying to get the whole thing thrown out, guys. Trying to get the whole thing thrown out. She's put in the court, be like, this should not happen. Let's throw the whole thing out. And Baldoni's like, no, he's doubling down right now because he's actually filed new claims into his lawsuit saying that, of course, the nice pool thing happened. So he put that bullying him happened in that movie. He added that to the lawsuit. And on top of that, too, he amended it with this 224-page lawsuit with, again, a new website. A website launched. I don't know if you guys saw this website, but it combines a 168-page timeline for the whole breakdown of the whole relationship with them and all the allegations that went down during the filming of This Ends With Us. And I will say, I skimmed through like 80 pages or 70 pages. It's a lot. And I will tell you the one thing about this whole thing is it sounds like he shows the text messages, email correspondence, the timeline. It breaks down from they first met to when he got the rights to the book to him bringing her on to how it kind of went down from there. And as I'm reading through this, and of course this is his side, and because his side's been pushing so much, the judge is actually talking about expediting the actual trial because he's saying right now it's going to be hard to get an actual jury base that's not going to be tainted by this because of all this information coming out, especially now this new website that just launched. And even on top of this too, you have her brother actually came forward and was dissing him online, and then he came back and retracted that, or her brother-in-law was. And then he's actually saying now that he lost out on millions of dollars. He was supposed to work on a Pac-Man movie and 2 other projects that he was supposed to direct and then actually help write, and he said he lost those jobs because of this whole thing too. But when I look at the actual breakdown, through the time, through all of this, I just say it's interesting because it shows like a very nice correspondence between the two of them. She's like, oh my God, this is a safe space with us. We're having a great time. No, you're totally fine. And one of the big things that was a big twist in there was she said he was calling me sexy on set, that I was wearing sexy clothes. And that was abusive, she was saying. But what he actually alluded to was she had been asking for her to be sexy in all the scenes. She kept saying, I'm not sexy enough. I need to be sexy. And so he said he had said that out loud. He apologized to her, but she still threw it in his face. And there was also like guys, remember the pornography thing that happened? Like he was showing, she said they were showing porn. Apparently what was happening was the producer was showing a natural birth his wife was giving of their kid to people on set, which is a weird thing, but that's what the porn was, that he was showing everybody the kid being born, which is a weird thing to do. Honestly, why would you show like your wife giving birth to somebody, your kid, your coworkers?
Did that.
That's a weird thing.
Did it right?
Yeah, well, it was a fellow producer. It wasn't him.
Oh.
So, yeah, so...
I mean, and then people have done that. It is weird. I mean, I don't know if they just find it to be like, this is life, and like, look at how beautiful it is. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's great. I mean, I don't want to see your wife having a baby. Like...
Yeah, but it just seemed like to me, Angela, like even as I'm like, this is one person's side. Like his stuff is one person's side.
Not pornography. I mean, that's not what that is. Like that's completely out of context. I mean, and as much as and as that story goes, like you're saying with looking at that case too, like I find it interesting that like there's a history with Ryan Reynolds and being, I guess, like even with his previous wife, Scarlett Johansson, that. She made comments about wanting to be with a man that was more empathetic, and she didn't realize what it was to set boundaries in a relationship and understanding what that meant, because she was referring to at the time that, I think that Ryan didn't understand and was basically like kind of really controlling in her relationship. And so that's essentially, and then obviously, I guess, what Blake Lively and him got together and cheated. He cheated on her while they were on, was it the Green Lantern or something?
Yeah, Green Lantern when they actually hooked up. Yeah.
Those two met on obviously that at that time. And so I think Ryan was having a lot of issues because like Scarlett Johansson was really, really just killing it. She was making a ton of money. She was in Avengers, like all that stuff was coming out back at that time period when they had met, him and Blake Lively. And so he was like, basically, I guess he had some issues with her, popularity and how she was doing it. He didn't really have much control, I guess, with her life and stuff going on there. So I guess it kind of just created from what she was saying in these interviews she's had, it would create a kind of a downfall, which is interesting because when Blake Lively was and they met. She was on, what was it, Gossip Girl?
Gossip Girl, yeah. She
was dating Penn Badgley for a few years. And I guess when they got together, like, Ryan Reynolds was, you know, like, did not want her. He wanted, like, to find that woman who was going to be that stay-at-home mom type, you know, that will kind of, you know, like, you can have this great life, but whatever. And that's kind of, I mean, that's kind of been the narrative going around a lot of places, is that she would just kind of, like, she fit that mold in a way of just, like, being his wife, and he could kind of control a little bit more of what Blake did, because he did, I guess, try to help get her contract. He helped try to help get her contract, like, you know, revoked or minimized, or in some way try to get her out of her contract, basically, with the whole Gossip Girl thing. And all that was going on. Then you have it kind of transitioned into these other things where you don't know people. And Ryan's like that guy who seems to have, he seems like a really genuine, kind guy, but with that whole
genuine, charismatic.
The kindness pool thing or whatever, that stunt.
The nice pool.
When I looked back at that, it was like obviously really cheap. Like, I mean, they were like obviously directed at him. I mean, you can't get around that. It was like, I mean, even the promos for the movie with like the, you know, where they had the other actor and he's showing the picture of like, he's like, why is your wife, you know, why is your hand in my wife's or like something with his wife, and there was a hand in her pocket or something like that on set. Like, I started looking at all this stuff and I'm like, this is kind of, do you remember that? The interview that the promo.
I'm trying to think about the hand in the pocket. I mean,
there was it was Ryan Reynolds interviewing the other guy that was not that played Atlas. His name's Brendan something, I think. He was the other guy in the film, her love interest. But the Ryan Reynolds.
I need to watch this movie.
Okay, well, anyways, they had to sit down, and it was a promo, and it was kind of going into this whole thing, and it kind of just goes back to the whole, like, I guess, like, Ryan Reynolds wanted her wardrobe for the movie, like, sent to the house, so he could, like, basically, from what I've heard, to approve what was acceptable for her to wear on set. When I guess
they had that one thing, Angela, where she wore one outfit and it leaked, and people were saying that she looked they were saying she didn't look good. Like, why is she wearing that? And they pushed the budget. Apparently, they had like $150,000 for the wardrobe, or $180,000, and because of that budget, they moved up to $500,000 for the wardrobe. Yeah, and so that was a big contention on set too. That's what Baldoni was saying.
Yeah, well, and I think too the other thing was interesting is that, you know, like, this all started when he had some access to that rooftop, is where this all started, like, is when the writer's strike happened. He asked for the cuts of the movie, like, and no producer in the history of anywhere any actress has asked if they could get, hey, could you give me the cuts of the film so far so I can, like, review it. And then she asked if you, I don't know if you looked through the messages, but she asked also like they could send if any other producers on the film have seen any of the cuts before, and I guess, like, no one's ever really requested that in the hit anywhere. Like, no one's ever asked.
It's not normally a thing.
Huh?
It's not normally a thing unless you're like executive producer on it or something like that. But even that, it's like she was actually saying. She, like, I remember I read her first text about when she first watched the movie, and then she said, "Oh my God, I love it. This is phenomenal. I'm so proud of you." And then he said that she showed up the next day with 7 pages of notes and said he needed to change all these things. And then the producers, there's actually like text messages with the producers being like, "She's so difficult. Like, why is he giving her all this feedback? Why is he letting her control this? She's taking over the movie. We didn't hire her. We hired him." And he even said, like, "I gave her 98% on what she wants, and she keeps asking for more." And, you know, it's just like little things that sound like it was difficult with her, you know, and then this is his side again, but it just sounds like it's difficult.
It might have been difficult with her, and then through maybe Ryan too, though, being, if he's a controlling, if he is that kind of person where, let's say he's a bit controlling about what she does and how things go, and he wants to have a say in creative input, even though it's not his film or whatever, and she's in it and that's his wife. That's a whole nother dynamic that I don't know. I don't know him in that capacity, so I can't speak to it. But all I know is, I mean, if his ex-wife is talking about that behavior and other people are kind of like, well, this is what we've seen. I mean, it starts to become like, then there's a pattern. You have to start to wonder, is the pattern true? Like, where do we start seeing where do you start seeing the difference and the deviation in behavior and communication? And that's where they looked at that timeline. And it was like right when there was that scene where the two of them were talking. It was like they were doing those cuts, and they were dancing. They were getting kind of intimate looking together. They were talking about like a bunch of life stuff. It wasn't, obviously this wasn't them acting in the film. This was them just showing they were talking about stuff and just flirting. And I guess from what is being said, that's when I guess Ryan Reynolds saw that it really bothered him because it was similar to the same, I guess. What
happened before, Penn Badgley or something?
That was the same similar mimicking like scene where I think those two kind of fell in love. And I guess, they both have a history of having romances with other people on set. Like,
so you think it's just a jealousy thing? Because
on the town. What?
Their text messages are like so like if you look at their text messages, she's like so many hearts and emojis. I'm so proud of you. You're so great. And then he's back. Oh, you're so. I mean, most of the text messages almost seem like they're in love. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you're with somebody,
they're very flirtatious.
Would you not get? If you were someone who has if you were a little controlling or have that type of behavior, would that not probably set you off? Of being insecure and feeling like,
a lot less than that.
What?
But Baldoni has kids and he's married and has kids and stuff
he
too.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said if he's a control freak, and we don't know that he is or isn't, but if he is, it wouldn't take that many emails to set him off.
But
there's so many text messages.
But the bottom line is he doesn't have any control of this fucking movie. Either make the movie or kick the bitch out. That's when I was reading that stuff, I was just like,
William Morris Endeavor or whatever dropped him. I mean, that's pretty. Yeah. And they probably made that decision. It was a successful movie, and it's making money.
Yeah,
they probably did it because they know. Okay, do we keep this dude or do we keep Blake and Ryan and make more money off them because they're more of a sure thing than maybe this guy? I don't know. I mean, probably not the smartest move on their behalf to drop him.
I don't think so. I think like if you look at these text messages back and forth from day one, even until like where she came back, and they had the big break because of the strikes, and so they went down. And when they came back from the strikes, like they'd pushed it because of her. And when they came back, she was all happy, excited. And then all of a sudden, she's like, "I have to have a meeting with the team day one." And he's like, "Well, this seems weird." And he thought it was gonna be fine. And then Ryan showed up, and they were yelling at him and belittling him and saying like, "You've been, inappropriate to my wife." And he's like, "I've already had these conversations. We've already gone through this." Even the intimacy coordinator thing, like, before it seemed like she made it seem like, we never had that. He had one from day one on board and she refused to talk to him. It was a whole thing. So now he was talking for the notes.
Kind of.
It seems like it. It seemed like there was something here.
I think Ryan called her out. This is what I'm going to say. I think Ryan probably called her out. It sounds like he may have a control thing going on with like certain stuff. Didn't like what he was seeing. Not that I'm saying I don't blame him in some capacity if that was the case. If, right, in quotes.
Yeah.
He kind of probably lost his marbles a little bit on it and got like, all right, I'm going to run with this. I'm pissed off. Like I'm going to try and take over here where I can. Maybe he was thinking, and like, yeah, now it's like, and then she kind of gave in like, oh shit, yeah, this is my husband. I'm not going to like mess with him. I got to like follow his lead on this. If he says we got to do this, it could have been her way of just saving her own ass too. I mean, if she felt like she probably was doing the wrong thing, I mean, she's been known to be very flirtatious on sets. Like it's not a new thing with her stars.
And I know, like Kira was saying, why don't we just make? I think it was Kira said he needs to be blacklisted. No, it was Countess, and that's something he kind of is blacklisted right now, and that's why he's filing this lawsuit. I don't think it's going to get thrown out. Like if you start looking through like the actual, their correspondence, like I was saying to this whole thing, it just seems like there's something weird going on here because she seemed exactly happy and satisfied with everything until she wasn't, and everything that she talked about, it seemed fine, right. And she even said this is a safe space.
When did that, right at that, like you said, everything was fine. Then where was that one point where the deviation occurs? That's what you look at, because that's where you can tell the whole story right there. And that's when everything picks up. So if it is on them, and this is in fact kind of the way it did go, the narrative totally changes a lot more. And that guy is entitled to punitive damages, all kinds of stuff, because he's losing out on money, his film.
Millions.
And if that were the case, I'm
intrigued to see how they present this, because
don't send her a freaking voicemail, dude, at 2 a.m. Like,
yeah, you don't do that. Apologizing.
Like, it just sounded really. It was a bit like bizarre.
Right?
That was wild. Oh my god, I remember.
Yeah, he was all breathy and like he was working out, and he was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
all right. Like,
yeah. Val, what's your instinct on this? You're kind of hearing these more and more information's coming out. He releases this 160-some page thing of all their correspondence, which is pretty drastic to put that out there, because he's been talking about it for weeks now. Do you think this is going to help his cause at all? And do you think that this is, because you think that maybe that Angela could be right about this kind of jealousy maybe behind scenes?
I don't know how this is, like, how the texts or whatnot are going to, like, help his cause or what, but what Angela's saying, I'm just sitting here absorbing this, because that has, like, changed my entire perspective on this. Not that I was really, like, I don't know, for one person or the other, but everything that you're saying about, like, kind of Blake Lively maybe being more, like, flirtatious on set or whatnot, like, whether she was, like, super serious about it or not, and then, like, Ryan Reynolds getting really jealous. And so is it entirely like she was saying, like, he wanted to approve her outfits. And if you watched the movie and you saw the, like, outfits she wore in the movie, there was, like, a scene where she was wearing, like, 2 giant pairs of baggy jeans. It was 2 layered pairs of jeans. And I'm just like, that's the work of a straight man, if I've ever seen it. No offense, straight men. But yeah, that was it makes so much sense. I was like, that has to be why those outfits were so weird, because, like, the main, like, thing that I've seen around this movie, aside from, like, obviously, like, all the controversy and, like, the lawsuits or whatnot, are how weird all of her outfits were. Like, she was wearing all these, like, a huge beanie and, like, a giant,
that's a queen,
triple XL, like, Carhartt jacket, and, like, the outfits were so weird. Every outfit was so weird, and I'm like, it's all making sense now to me.
But then you hear about, she's like, even in all these correspondence, she's talking about, I need to be sexy and all this stuff too, which is weird, because again, it's like she's saying that, but then she's wearing baggy clothes and stuff like that. But they also have their whole correspondence, Val, going back and forth about, like, the weight thing. That was a big thing in this. So she's saying, they even talks about how Ryan Reynolds, like, yelled at him, like, you never asked for someone's weight, a woman's weight. But they go back and forth from almost day one, where she's, like, very open in these text messages, being like, hey, I'm worried about my weight. Like, I'm working on it, and she going back and forth. He's like, I'm working on mine too. And she's like, you should try my trainer. Okay, here's my trainer. So then he starts using her trainer, and they're, like, helping both them out. And then she keeps bringing her weight up the whole time. And he's like, you look fantastic. Don't worry about it. She's like, please shoot my scenes later, the intimacy scenes, because I don't want to be like, I'm gonna try to lose as much weight as possible. He's like, I'm gonna try my best, but, like, he goes, don't worry about it. We're gonna make you look great. You're gonna look great. And then that whole thing about the weight happened, and he even said to the trainer, being like, I was gonna try to find. He told her, or he told the trainer, like, I know you're saying that she's worried about her weight, but, like, what's her weight so we know if we're picking up in this big sequence? And it didn't even seem like a thing to me. But then again, the way that they respond to it, it seems like she makes it a big deal. When it seems like she was trying to, like, not make it a big deal from the get go, like, be fine with this. I want to be open about this, and so it's interesting to me. I'm like, what is happening here? I just don't know. It's like, the more I see this stuff, the more I'm like, I don't know if I believe completely that she's right. That's just me. I mean, I don't know, but we'll see. It's like changing my mind on the whole thing. It does seem like weird that Ryan Reynolds is so involved. It just does.
Yeah.
Well, you heard about it, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's weird how involved Ryan Reynolds is, though. I mean, like, that's where kind of this whole control thing comes in, is more of a, like, okay, this makes more sense to me now, right? Like, as before, it was like, okay, protective husband, if he was really, this guy was being so inappropriate. But looking at their communication, they were very, like, very copacetic, very amicable, friendly, very friendly to each other. I would say flirtatious to some extent. Like, that's where I could see him stepping in, hence why all the kind of, like, and I like Ryan Reynolds. I've always liked him, but I mean, at the same time, I feel like, it's kind of been said he's kind of got that like funny sort of insecure ego, kind of like, that like
He plays it well.
kind of that
He plays
funny,
it so well.
insecure, witty ego comedy. That's
Van Wilder.
what he projects a lot,
That's him.
right? So I think with this, it was like if he's that kind of guy, that he's a little like, I got to approve the outfits. I want to see what she's doing. This guy's good look. Whatever the scenario is, like, there's people just who have those personality traits that it's like, I mean, one thing happens and that's it. That's enough for them to be set off and to do whatever they want. He's a powerful now like actor in Hollywood. So he's got a lot of pull, got a lot of weight.
Big.
And this guy's a little fish compared to him.
That's why I'm intrigued to see if there's other sides.
Yeah, I mean, again,
Like, let's see if there's any more text messages they're not showing in this.
well, I'm certain there's something. I mean,
That's the big thing.
holding something, but
Oh yeah.
I just think like, I don't know. I don't want to say it seems like a kind of like a bullying situation, like someone like they're picking on this guy. I don't know. Like things for me turned around when I started looking more into like this whole thing.
It's a lot of nonsense.
What?
Yeah, and it's going to keep going. I was saying it sounds like a lot of nonsense in the chat. Yeah, it's a lot of nonsense, but I also wonder, like, because again, they want to throw it out. Blake Lively wants it thrown out now, and Ryan Reynolds are asking for it all thrown out. It makes you wonder if there is more of that, like you were saying, Angela, they don't want out there now,
Well, it sounds
Probably
like
not, because he got dropped. I mean, this guy got dropped from his agency. Like it's
everything.
We all know
4 projects he said he's losing. Pac-Man was one of them. Pac-Man?
Yeah, Brian, it sounds like somebody that knows they're going to get their ass kicked in court wants it out. Oh my God, I could lose, and look at that.
Yeah, like this is starting to go in our favor, so we might lose, and they very well might.
Exactly.
If
GR, you're saying about this. What do you think, GR?
If it's what, if I'm sorry, go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say you've been flying the wall a little bit. What do you think about this too? Do you think that this could be a thing where they're trying to get it thrown out because it does make him look bad, and makes them look bad, and maybe Baldoni might have a little bit more stuff to say here?
I think he definitely does. I think I didn't read as many pages as you did, but what I looked at, this bitch wants it thrown out because she knows she's going to get her ass kicked in court. And when that happens, it's going to cost her, what is it, $400 million?
It's $400 million.
It won't be be that much, but it still could be a couple $100 million. And I
feel like they might settle it early, GR. They could try.
She already is trying. She wants it kicked out, and she has a reputation, as you will know, Brian, of being a bitch on the set. It's not
even
like
the Gossip Girls came out. The producer came out from Gossip Girl was saying that too, about how she was farting and burping on set and acting like that people should be honored to be smelling her farts. That she would be like, "You should be happy that you can smell my farts on set," like stuff like that.
Ew.
And that's what I'm saying. She, the bitch knows she's gonna lose her ass in this case, and she wants it thrown out so I don't get looked at. I don't give a fuck, you bitch. You call a man out, you sue him, and then when you find out, oh my God, there's evidence I'm not a nice person. I don't want that out there. Yeah.
Well, the fact that they threw out like that this 168-page thing, GR, that's a lot of stuff being like, this is our whole correspondence too. It's very fascinating, and I think like as I'm reading that, a lot of it seems like if you work on set, a lot of it seems very standard. Like when you're dealing with somebody difficult, and that's why I'm not going to be like this is what it is, but to me it sounds like difficulties.
Our dance scene we saw, Brian.
Yeah, I mean
that was not unusual.
No, not unusual. But then also on top of that, the fat shaming thing, there was, like I said before, there was so many conversations where she was bringing up her weight, being like, and they were joking about it, and they were happy, and they were having a great time, So to me, it's like, I feel like that was thrown in his face. But also, like, again, if you read this at all, a lot of it just seems like standard, difficult person on set, and you're trying to get through. She had 2 ADs fired, too, because she didn't like it. Like, one of them, She was saying she was naked for the pregnancy scene, but she wasn't. They had Spanx on her, plus they had an undergarment, plus they had the robe, and she was saying everything was out there with one piece of cloth on her genitalia, and they have the correspondence. She said that their people were on set during these intimacy scenes, and even on the call sheets it shows closed set, which they really do. This isn't the call sheet, closed set, no cameras, and only certain people are allowed on set. I've been in those situations a million times. They have all the stuff, all the paper trail to show they were doing precautions. So maybe there's something weird with, again, Ryan Reynolds, like Angela said, and also on top of it, maybe it's her being difficult, But he did change the script for her multiple times, and he did a lot of stuff, and they were joking back and forth, very open about it. So
yeah.
It just seems like people are jumping on a bandwagon, and I can't wait to see how it's played out in court. I just can't wait to see how it's played out in court.
She also had her protections for return to production. I think she had 17 or 20. Sorry, she had up to 20 or something like that. Like I think the list even went further than that. Of like all these, Yeah, well, they were saying again too that there was a COVID outbreak. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, there's a COVID outbreak, but that's past the time, like they were saying.
She's had, I don't want to be like a dick, but she's had maybe they said about 8 films in her career that I think maybe like one was the best. Like she had one that was the most.
Right.
And I don't think she gets a lot of film offers because of her behavior. I think also on set, like maybe that's another, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter just who you're married to or whatever. If you're just known to constantly have a poor attitude or just a very entitled attitude, and you're just you're rude to like everyone that interviews you, or you pretty much a lot of these people you meet because you just feel like you can be. And your co-stars, it's not like it's just the people that interview her; it's the co-stars. It's the people that she works with, her, the production, the crew, all that. At some point, someone
you're an idiot.
Like, listen.
If you're a twit on the set, it's going to get known.
Yeah.
And there goes your work.
Well, I don't think
I'm going to say one thing since the chat saying like he had all the power in here.
What?
Well, I see the chat saying she had all the power in this situation, or there's the chat saying he had all the power in this situation. That tends to happen sometimes, but even like what they're showing here is that she had all the power in the situation, but that's his side, her side, you know what I mean? And when a big name comes on with somebody that has a little name like this, sometimes the power dynamic will shift, and they'll have more power on set, and people will give in to that big name.
Sure.
That's what I think too.
The whole, she was the star of this film. So
yeah, and she did massive research. So much of the producers were complaining in these things they say too about how she's taking over, and that she's been known to do this before, and it was messing up what they were shooting. So there's a lot of stuff here that sounds like typical like on-set jargon when you have somebody that's difficult and people trying to kind of pamper that person, which happens a lot. It happens a lot. She had 2 ADs fired because they looked at her wrong. You know what I mean?
I think.
And,
I don't think it's just somebody who's a diva behavior. I think someone needs to do the finger.
Well, yeah, but people don't do that though. People get scared, Angela. They always get scared.
To work.
She threatened to walk. That was another thing too. She threatened to walk. 2 weeks out, she threatened to walk.
Replaceable. Sorry, everybody's replaceable. Blake Lively's replaceable. There's a million other actresses that are just, better than she is as an actress. She's not that amazing. She's not. Sorry, but she's not. She's okay. She can do decent when she wants to. I don't think she's the best actress I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't put her in the top 500.
Are rude. Just the things I've seen about with her are just man, I wouldn't want to. I'd freaking say something to her if she got an attitude like that with me. It's bitch, I don't care. I don't care that you come from your mommy and daddy's money and they paid for you to get your way through, and you've had nose jobs all over the place and plastic surgery to feel like you want to fit into the Hollywood scene more. Good for you. Happy that you were able to get all that. But if you're being a bitch to everybody, then I don't know. There is kind of there are things that come along with that you kind of have to take.
Is she a Nepo baby?
What?
Is she a Nepo baby?
Is she a what baby?
A Nepo baby?
Nepotism.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Her parents got her into the industry, I think paid her way to get through into it. And then they, everyone knows she kind of slept her way around to the top. She was friends with Harvey Weinstein, or she was close with him.
Well, that explains the fucked up attitude. She's always friends.
Actually,
Well,
I don't know if I don't want to say she went and like she defended him, but she didn't say he was a bad guy, like necessarily. She was definitely like, I think he helped her career because I think that they
would, Queen, but so what?
Yeah.
If somebody's a bitch or an asshole on set, they deserve to be fired.
Well, that's what I say too. Like honestly, I always like to stand up. Like if people are getting harassed on set, it's not great. It's not a great thing, and we should shut it down. And I saw a chat out there. Well, what would you do? And I would say this: you should be contacting the union, and you should be taking precautions with your agent to go battle this right on. Not according to all this correspondence. She's like, it's fine, it's good. They asked if she wanted to file a formal complaint. She said no before. She's like, let's just fix these things. So there's lots of paper trail here where she's saying no, it's fine, let's keep going. And then it seems like things start developing, and this is the thing that Angela said really kind of made sense to me, is maybe a jealous husband, maybe there was something happened there too where they saw they just wanted more involvement, but there's a lot of correspondence here that are very iffy to me for her story. That's it, but then again, that's why they're saying that they're trying to push the trial up right now, because in the court of law, like, we need to get like an actual untainted jury pool, right? And they're thinking right now, as this information is coming out, it's going to be harder and harder to find. They can find people, but I know they're trying to push this faster because this. I don't see this getting thrown out. I know that's the whole thing. Is it going to get thrown out? I don't think so. I think we're going to go to trial, but I think it'll happen faster than you expect, because I think they're going to push for it.
If they start to do it, like to offer a deal, which I'm certain will go on the table, if Ryan and her don't want this going that far, I mean, I'm certain there's going to be deals thrown around just to get this guy, like, hey, we don't want to go this far. But then you start wondering, that's where it starts to look like, well, then you guys obviously are a little bit nervous about how this is all going to go, because then you might have to be paying out a hell of a lot more than maybe whatever your deal is or offer you end up.
I think it's going to take more than money, Angela, for him to drop the suit, because
I think this is
they know they've cost him 3 movies.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not I don't think it's just about the money for this guy. It's about like redemption for his self-preservation. Like, it's about like, you guys, if this is like, you guys tried to take me down or are taking me down, and I'm dropped from these people. My opportunities have been I mean, that's a big deal. Those two are not going to be
big deal.
I would say I'll take you.
Are definitely going to be more hanging in the balance, but I don't think it's going to really affect Ryan Reynolds' career. I mean, he's got so many things going on. He's making all kinds of moves. I mean, she's sitting pretty no matter what she does, so it's not like it's going to matter crap to her, right? If they lose however many millions, I mean, I think that'd be a problem. That would definitely take a hit in their pocketbook, but. This guy's, I mean, if this was the opposite, I was in the situation and I knew I was innocent, and I'd fight till the end.
I agree with what you're saying, Angela, but I would put it like this to them. Yeah, I got no problem taking only $200 million or whatever that number is, but I want a public apology written and produced by you.
Yeah.
I want my job back.
And that way my agent call them right out.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm certain that's pretty standard. I'm certain the attorneys would be like saying, and they may say yes or no to that, and then they have to add. But that's what you really want, is you do want the public apology.
They say no to the apology, then I go for the $400 million.
Yeah.
And I'll say one more thing.
That's fair. I mean, that's a very typical maneuver. A lot of people have a hard time with that one, though. That one right there, that statement alone is like the $1 billion statement, like that one kind of sets everything and sets the tone for all of us, basically saying, hey, we kind of bullshitted on this whole thing, or we made this a way bigger deal and basically just wanted to take this guy down because I was maybe jealous or upset or pissed off or whatever the heck it is. It's not worth that. It's not worth that.
No.
So
I would say this though too. I don't think this guy is the most amazing human being though either. Let me just say that too, because I did see like that whole thing where he stole the idea from his buddy's book and wrote a whole script upon that and sold it. Never gave the guy rights.
Yeah, that's low. That's like
so
like stealing.
He's done some shit. Yeah. He's done some shit. But this,
I never said he was an angel. I wasn't meaning that.
Well, I'm just trying to tell. I'm just everybody else out there too, though. I'm saying everybody out there. Not that I'm saying he's an angel. I think he's got some skeletons in his closet, which makes you wonder, of course, always. But I think there's more to this case than people actually are initially real. You know, you hear something, you make a jump to something. I think there's more happening here. That's all I'm saying. I think there's more happening.
Yeah.
And I do hope this gets to court. I hope it does, and I think it will. I think that's going to be an ego thing. And if it doesn't go to court, then it is. Then they know they're, like GR is saying, they know they're in the wrong, and they don't want to blow up in their career and make it any bigger noise than it already is. You know, that's what I think it comes down to. But Valarie, I see you want to say something.
This guy, I mean, I think he probably, like you said, has like some skeletons in his closet and whatnot, you know, but I don't know, it's so wild to me. I want to know how his wife feels about like her birth video just being showed to everybody on set. You know, I'm like, why?
It's a whole thing like a birth video,
right? It was a different producer.
So that producer, yeah. I don't know why you would be showing that though. You know,
who was it? Who was doing that? So it wasn't Justin Baldoni or something else?
No, it was a fellow producer. Yeah. Helms, I think his name is. Yeah, he was showing it. And then again, apparently it was a thing, though, he had discussed before he told them. That's what they claimed, that he was asking them first and then showing it. So it wasn't like just showing people. And that was blown out of context, too. But that wasn't like it was actual, like, because she made it sound like that was like pornography. You know what I mean? Which is a big difference.
Yeah, that's not pornography. That's kind of like indecent. I mean, I don't know.
Indecent, yeah.
You can look on the YouTube.
No, it's a personal film, but it doesn't make it indecent or pornographic.
No, it's not pornographic. You can go online. I mean, it's birth. I mean, if somebody was interested, like, what is a live birth like? You can type one in right now on YouTube to get education on what a live birth is. I mean, that's like an educational thing. I mean, obviously,
if you don't want to watch it, you don't watch it. I mean,
you don't watch it. Same as this movie, guys.
Well, let me watch your. I mean,
there you go, Brian.
The same as this movie. It ends with us, and that ends with us right now. I don't know if it's gonna be like ever get to trial, but I think it will. And I think we're gonna get some answers moving forward. But there's more than meets the eye here.
Yo, player, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the Pepestar needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.